Transcendental meditation. Accessing inner resources for greater happiness, vitality, and success without stress.
I recommend transcendental meditation to my patients, and I've noticed some very important results thereof.
When I started TM, things became simpler. I had more time, more free time, because the time I spent on my studies was very effective, very productive, and the quality went up, my grades went up, and I was very surprised about that.
I couldn't believe it. I had such a wonderful experience. I was meditating, and I've been doing it regularly ever since.
Over 500 scientific studies have been conducted on transcendental meditation.
The scientific part of it, I hadn't even asked, but when I found out, I was so thrilled, because, I mean, the facts are there. I mean, if you're not sure about this, check it out.
Transcendental meditation. A proven program for greater happiness, vitality, and success without stress.
Hello, my name is Renee Bates. The people you've just seen are talking about a unique and simple technique. In the next half hour, we'll discover why they're feeling happier, healthier, and getting more out of their lives. Let's start by talking about something we all know well, maybe too well. I'm talking about stress, which we live with on a daily basis. Joining me is Dr. Ross Michelson. Dr. Michelson, how does stress affect us?
Well, stress is today's most real threat to perfect health. At least 80% of the people I see every day are dealing with illnesses that are stress-related. This would include problems with hypertension, anxiety, insomnia, irritable bowel syndrome, and chronic fatigue. If not properly released, the stress can perpetuate disease and even cause it.
What exactly is stress?
Well, stress is not necessarily a particular event, but more how we process that event. For example, if someone is stuck in traffic and they spend the time thinking about how late they're going to be and feeling angry with the people around them, they'll arrive at their destination with elevated blood pressure and all the symptoms of someone who's just had a stressful experience. On the other hand, if the individual accepts the fact that they're going to be late and they use the time to listen to music or some other pleasant activity, they'll arrive as late as the first individual, but with a physiology compatible to that as someone who's just experienced something pleasant. And the problem with stress arises from the cumulative effect of repeated stressful experiences. As a physician, I recommend TM, or the Transcendental Meditation Program, as an effective way to help neutralize the cumulative effect of repeated stress on the body.
Now I know what you say. Take you stay in the sky. Oh, don't you give up on me. Whatever made you think I said goodbye. I started meditating, and it was the easiest thing I've ever done in my life, and the most powerful and extraordinary thing I've ever done. I mean, it just, first of all, I was so stressed and so tired from, I think, so many years in the business. When that came along, it's like a lifesaver. And what I couldn't get over was how easy it was to do this and to get this kind of result. And evidently, like I said, I've been doing it for 10 years, and I started to be more creative. I started to write more songs. The way that it's changed my life is especially before a show, I'm always very nervous, even after all these years. And I often meditate maybe 2 hours before my show, and it really calms me down, clears my mind, clears me for what I have to do.
How does TM accomplish this?
The physiological changes that we see during TM are opposites of that of a stressful situation. So the antidote to stress is deep rest. Transcendental meditation provides a unique level of rest that's even deeper than that of sleep. Both the mind and the body experience quietness and deep rest. It's the profound rest that naturally releases the stress and the tension. And this is more than simple theory. More than 500 studies have shown that when an individual practices TM, the heart rate slows down, blood pressure falls, and in fact the whole metabolic rate decreases.
An article in the Globe and Mail entitled "Meditate to Prevent Strokes" describe the findings of a new study reported in the journal Hypertension, published by the American Heart Association. According to this study, transcendental meditation was much more effective in reducing high blood pressure than either progressive muscle relaxation or healthy living advice, and just as effective as antihypertensive drugs. Such reductions in blood pressure have been associated with about 35% fewer strokes and heart attacks. The National Institute of Health in the U.S. has allocated $3 million for 2 further studies on the long-term effects of TM and its ability to reduce blood pressure, stress, and heart disease.
I recommend transcendental meditation to my patients, and I've noticed some very important results thereof, which certainly include the reduction in the amount of insomnia. There has been an improvement in anxiety and depression. Hypertension has improved, the blood pressure has come down, and particularly in this day and age, a reduction in the use of tobacco and alcohol.
In one study in the Psychosomatic Medicine Journal, they studied 2,000 TM meditators, and they found that compared to a control group, the meditators used the hospital 87% less for heart disease and 55% less for cancer.
Sometimes as a psychologist, I even see people who aren't experiencing a great deal of problems in their life. They may have some dissatisfactions, but what they really want is a way to increase their potential. They want to reach their goals and their dreams. And as a psychologist, we know that we only use a small percentage of our brain power. And the TM technique trains us how to access our potential to a much greater degree than we had ever realized was possible.
One of the most outstanding things I found when I started learning TM, or when I started TM, was the fact that it would take me a lot less time to do my homework than all my other friends. And I was never a brain. I always had to work very hard in school to get good grades. But when I started TM, things became simpler. I had more time, more free time, because the time I spent on my studies was very effective, very productive, and the quality went up, my grades went up, and I was very surprised about that.
The nicest thing for me about doing the meditation is that it cleared my mind of what I call clutter or noise, and things became quiet, and my creativity just kind of bubbled forth, and I'm spending a joyous time now in my painting.
In this study that we published very recently, we were trying to see if transcendental meditation actually makes you younger physiologically. So we looked at 1,500 people, 1,000 non-meditators, and about 450 people practicing the TM technique. And we looked at dehydroepiandrosterone sulfate, a hormone that's made by the adrenal glands. And it is very high when you're in your 20s, and it goes down to very low levels in the 7th and 8th decade of life. It's actually good to have higher levels of this hormone, because higher levels are indicative of less risk of coronary artery disease and breast cancer and actually longer survival. And the meditators had levels that were characteristic of the non-meditators who were 10 to even sometimes 15 years younger. And we asked ourselves why. This hormone also goes down with stress. And so if meditators are going through their day in a more effortless way, they're taking on less wear and tear. And what is aging after all, except accumulated stress?
You can't learn TM from a book or a TV show. The first step in learning transcendental meditation is to attend a free introductory lecture. Then the technique is learned in 4 easy classes of about 2 hours each. Deep rest, reduced stress, and more energy are benefits which come right from the start.
And the whole thing is it takes a certain amount of time and to get into that zone where you're relaxed and want to unwind after a tough day. I'm the executive director. So many things that I have to